Are you working hard to save money but ending up poorer? Do you lose more the harder you try to invest? Wondering how much you need to earn for financial freedom or how much to save for retirement? What are the pitfalls that make 90% of startups fail? At what age should we start teaching kids about financial literacy? Today I'm joined by financial expert Hao Zhenlian, with real business cases and practical wealth-building logic for ordinary people. He'll break down all these unavoidable wealth problems one by one. Loads of useful insights. Keep listening, you won't regret it. When it comes to financial literacy, most people first think of managing money like keeping a budget, saving, and not overspending. But honestly, financial literacy is essentially about managing scarce resources. The logic is the same whether it's for personal life or running a company. Let's start with companies. The most direct reflection of a company's resources is cash, what we call the cash flow statement in finance. It clearly tells you if the company has real disposable money. Then cash can't just sit there like stagnant water. It needs to circulate like a stream, constantly coming in and not being spent meaninglessly. It's like the balance of yin and yang in Tai Chi. Both sides are indispensable. Finally, circulation alone isn't enough. You need to accumulate, just like building a reservoir to store water. That's where the balance sheet comes in. Subtract liabilities from total assets, and what's left is your real net worth, the tangible accumulation. Let me tell you a true story. There's a 45-year-old second-generation entrepreneur in Langfang, Hebei. His father used to run a metal processing factory making screws. After taking over, he wanted to transform the company into an electronics business. His father kept telling him, "You must learn finance well," but all those fancy financial terms like accounts receivable, turnover rate, and inventory impairment provision confused him more the more he studied. But he noticed that no matter which financial teacher he listened to, they all ended up saying one thing: cash is the most important. Since he couldn't understand the complex theories, he decided to focus on the core cash. He came up with a bold idea. He put a big TV screen in the company lobby showing the daily cash balance from all the company's bank accounts. Another screen was installed in the factory workshop, and even one in his 30-square-meter office. The screen was designed simply. The horizontal axis showed the 30 days of the month, 1 dot per day, and the vertical axis showed the cash balance number. No complicated labels. Everyone in the company, from the front desk receptionist and factory workers to sales and procurement staff, could see the day's cash level at a glance. When clients and partners visited, they were shocked. They straightforwardly asked him, "Aren't you afraid of risks by making the company's cash situation public? Isn't this a bad idea?" Every time he'd reply, "What's bad about it?" the other person would be stuck, unable to give a specific reason, only feeling that letting others know how much money you have is bad, but not knowing exactly why. After all financial experts emphasize that cash requires focus. He just turned that focus into an action visible to the entire company. No one expected that this seemingly unreasonable approach would trigger a huge chain reaction in the company, especially at the end of the first year when bonuses were distributed. As we all know, distributing year-end bonuses makes the company's cash flow drop sharply, like releasing water from a reservoir. Before, employees would just go home happy with their bonuses and never think about the company's cash situation. But the boss would be extremely nervous watching the cash level plummet on the screen, worried about capital turnover problems the next year. But after the cash balance was made public, everything changed. When employees received their bonuses, they were happy. But they also looked at the dropping number on the screen and worried along with the boss. If the cash level wasn't as high next year, there would be no bonuses next year. This shared worry gradually turned into joint efforts across the company. Before, only the boss would be anxious if the sales department had no orders. Now, as long as the cash balance on the screen didn't rise, everyone in the company would take the initiative to tell the sales team, "Hurry up and find orders, no business coming in." The sales department would urge the finance department, "Hurry up and collect payments, we can't operate if the money doesn't come back." The procurement department used to buy whatever they wanted without considering costs. But now procurement staff would take the initiative to confirm with finance and sales, "Hurry up to collect money and make sales, otherwise I dare not buy anything." The whole company will blame me if the money is spent and not recovered. Later, this second-generation boss realized the underlying logic of management, the so-called shared goals mission. Vision of a company essentially need a tangible carrier, and cash is the most direct shared goal. When all employees can clearly see the company's cash situation, they will naturally unite to work together to keep the cash level rising. He didn't dare to give out much in bonuses the first year, but after seeing the positive changes in employees, he resolutely increased the bonus amount the second year. Surprisingly, the more bonuses he gave, the more motivated employees became. They were more active in securing orders and collecting payments, making the company's cash flow even more abundant. This formed a virtuous cycle. More bonuses gives employees work harder, gives higher cash flow, gives more bonuses to distribute. So you see, financial literacy management isn't some profound knowledge. The key is to grasp the core cash and resource circulation, accumulation, and consensus among all. Whether running a company or managing personal finances, first figure out your own cash level. Ensure money comes in and goes out smoothly and can be saved and accumulated. Only then can you walk steadily and far on the path of wealth. Talking about the core of financial literacy. Many of you must be thinking, I'm just an ordinary person working hard but getting nowhere, barely making ends meet. What resources do I have to manage? Is this slow wealth mindset irrelevant to me? Actually, it's not. The slow wealth mindset doesn't mean making money slowly when you can't even survive. It means rational accumulation based on survival, which is completely different from the idea of getting rich overnight by buying lottery tickets. Many people want to get rich quickly, thinking buying lottery tickets is the fastest way to make money. Spend 50 yuan for a chance to become rich overnight. But honestly, this isn't making money. It's gambling on luck. Even if you win, without corresponding financial literacy and ability, you can't keep the money, and you'll probably end up back where you started. The underlying logic of slow wealth first follows Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Solve the survival problem first, then talk about development. If you're currently working hard but getting nowhere, not earning much and even struggling to make a living, talking about slow wealth doesn't mean letting you give up efforts or deliberately slow down. Instead, you need to work steadily, keep your head down and work hard to accumulate your first pot of gold to ensure you can survive. Without survival as a prerequisite, all wealth planning is empty talk. But once you've solved the basic survival problem and have some savings, you can't spend recklessly. The frugality I'm talking about here doesn't mean being a miser who dares not spend a penny. It means saving to build confidence and create opportunities for self-improvement later. As Naval says in the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, we often overestimate the importance of hard work and underestimate the criticality of judgment. What is hard work? It's keeping your head down and working hard, repetitive low-level work. For example, working 8 hours a day on an assembly line for 200 yuan an hour, that's hard work. The necessary process of building basic skills. There's nothing wrong with it. We all have to go through this stage at the beginning. But if you stay at this level forever, only earning money through repetitive labor, you'll always be stuck in the cycle of working hard but getting nowhere and never achieve a qualitative leap in wealth. At this time, the money and time you save will come in handy. The saved money lets you avoid being forced to do low-paying jobs just to pay next month's rent and living expenses. The saved time lets you learn new skills, read new books, take new courses, and improve your judgment. What is judgment? Naval says judgment is the ability to see the long-term consequences of something. For example, spending 3 hours scrolling short videos versus 3 hours learning data analysis. There's no difference in the short term. But in the long run, the latter will have stronger abilities, be able to take on higher-end jobs, and naturally earn a higher hourly wage. Let me share my own experience. In 2020, when I first started writing a book, the publishing house said my previous online courses were good and wanted me to turn them into a book. I thought it would be easy at first, just organize the course content. But when I actually started writing, I found that the tone and context of courses are completely different from books. Courses are colloquial explanations, while books require more rigorous and systematic expression. I first tried typing from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I only wrote 500 words in 3 hours, deleting and rewriting constantly. I became more and more frustrated and even started to resist writing the book. At noon, my daughter sent me a line message. I replied by typing and she replied quickly, laughing and saying, "Dad, why are you typing so slowly? Who uses typing now? Everyone uses voice input." That hit me like a light bulb. I was going to go out for lunch, but I immediately turned around and went home, opened my phone's notes app and tried voice input. Unexpectedly, it was amazing. I finished nearly 3,800 words in just an hour and a half, and my train of thought was very smooth, completely free of the stuttering I had when typing. This experience made me deeply realize that in the slow wealth mindset, finding the right method and improving efficiency are particularly important. The time we save isn't for us to be idle. It's for us to try new things, find a way that suits us better and increase the value of our time. Just like me using voice input, my efficiency was several times higher than typing, allowing me to create more value in the same amount of time. The same goes for ordinary people. If you spend 1 hour a day learning English, you might find a part-time translation job paying 500 yuan an hour a year later. If you spend time learning design, you might take on freelance work with an hourly wage of 1,000 yuan. That's the change brought by judgment, not relying on repetitive hard work, but improving your own value. I particularly agree with a quote from Li Xiaolai: "The cheapest things are those you can buy with money. More important than money is time, and more important than time is attention." Many people seem busy every day, but they're busy with meaningless things, scrolling short videos, gossiping. Their attention is scattered with no new input, so naturally there's no new output and they always stay in the same place. The key to slow wealth is to focus your attention on things that can improve yourself. Slow down, absorb more, and accumulate. When you accumulate enough, wealth will naturally achieve a qualitative leap. So slow wealth doesn't mean getting rich slowly. It means getting rich steadily, making money through ability and cognition, not luck and physical strength. Moving on to investment, many of you have a question. I'm clearly working hard at investing. So why do I lose more money the more I invest? The core problem is actually one thing: confusing speculation with investment. The two seem to both be making money with money, but they're essentially completely different. What is speculation? It's following others to buy, buying a stock because someone says it's good, investing in a fund because someone says it's profitable, without knowing why you're buying or what you're buying. The result is, you don't know why you win when you win. It's probably just luck. And you don't know why you lose when you lose. You can only blame bad luck. What's the difference between this and buying lottery tickets? It's all about luck. I know an elder brother who told me, there's a foolproof way to win at lottery tickets when you're about to buy one. Decide not to. Then you've earned the 50 yuan you would have spent. It sounds like a joke, but it reveals the nature of speculation. Speculation is a bet with a high probability of losing, and not participating is actually winning. Real investment, first of all, must be based on your own interest. Naval said, when you do work you love, you don't have to work anymore because essentially work is part of life. The same goes for investment. If you invest in a field you don't like just to make money, you'll never be able to persist. For example, if you don't like researching stocks at all, but follow the trend because someone says stock trading is profitable, you'll be fine if the market rises. But once it falls, you'll panic and sell quickly to cut losses, never having the patience to wait for long-term returns. But if you really love researching industries and analyzing company financial reports, even if the market falls in the short term, you'll trust your judgment, hold on patiently, and even buy more at a low price. In the long run, you'll naturally make money. Warren Buffett is the best example. He's in his 90s, but he still studies stocks every day. When people ask him when he'll retire, he says, "I'm not working at all, so why retire?" Because researching stocks isn't a burden for him. It's a pleasure, part of his life. This love allows him to stay rational amid the ups and downs of the stock market, not be affected by short-term fluctuations, and focus on long-term value. That's the true essence of investment. Secondly, investment requires keeping up with the times and constantly improving your cognition. The world is changing too fast. There are no industries that always make money and no companies that always lead. Google used to be the absolute leader in the search engine field. Who would have thought ChatGPT would come out of nowhere and completely change the industry pattern? And shortly after ChatGPT was launched, More advanced models like DeepSeek emerged, making market competition even fiercer. The same goes for investment. You can't rely on past experience to get by. For example, if you made money from real estate 10 years ago and still hold the idea that buying a house will, real investors continuously pay attention to industry trends, learn new knowledge, and update their cognition. They focus not on short-term ups and downs, but on the long-term value of the investment target, such as the company's business model, core competitiveness, and industry development prospects. Even if there's a short-term loss, as long as these core logics remain unchanged, they'll persist. If the core logic changes, they'll resolutely stop losses and adjust their strategies in a timely manner. I used to be a senior manager in a semiconductor company. The work was very hard back then, requiring me to keep my head down and work hard, and I didn't really like it at first. But I gained a great sense of accomplishment from the work, seeing the projects I was in charge of succeed, seeing the company's products recognized by the market. That sense of satisfaction made me gradually invest more and even improve my cognition and ability at work. Later, I switched to financial management, writing books, and giving lectures because I found love in this process. So investment isn't about following the trend to pursue profits. It's about long-term investment based on love and cognition. If you want to invest, first ask yourself, do I really like this field? Am I willing to spend time researching it? If the answer is no, it's better not to get involved easily. Instead, save your money and first improve your cognition. If the answer is yes, calm down, study slowly, accumulate experience, and time will give you the best return. After talking about investment, let's discuss two topics everyone cares about most: financial freedom and retirement. Many people think financial freedom means earning enough money, and retirement means stopping work at 65 to stay at home and take care of themselves. But in fact, the core of these two concepts has nothing to do with the amount of money or your age. First, financial freedom. Geo Dian wrote a great formula in Break Through the Wall of Your Mind. Freedom equals ability. Desire. This formula clearly reveals the essence of financial freedom. It's not about how much wealth you have, but how much freedom you have. For example, if you earn 30,000 yuan a month, which doesn't seem like much, but you're monthly. Desires are only 20,000 yuan. Your desires are not high, and your ability is greater than your desires. You'll have a surplus of 10,000 yuan, and you won't have to do things you don't like for money. That's a form of financial freedom. On the contrary, some people earn a lot of money, but their desires also expand infinitely. Earning 100,000 yuan makes them want 1 million. Earning 1 million makes them want 10 million. They're always chasing more wealth, constantly driven by desires. Even with huge wealth, they're still not free and have to work hard to make money. I have many friends who run businesses and earn a lot of money, but they're still busy every day, not daring to rest. Because their desires are constantly expanding. Earning 100,000 yuan makes them want 1 million. Earning 1 million makes them want 10 million, and they're never satisfied. They seem to have a lot of wealth, but they're not free at all. While some ordinary people don't have high monthly salaries, they live a simple life with few desires. They can spend time with their families and do things they like every day. Although they don't have much money, they're mentally fulfilled and have true freedom. So the key to financial freedom isn't working hard to make more money, but finding a balance between ability and desire. You can increase your income by improving your ability, or reduce your expenses by lowering your desires. As long as ability is greater than desire, you'll have financial freedom. There's no need to compare yourself with others or pursue the so-called standard answer. What suits you is the best. Now, retirement. Many people see retirement as a distant goal, always saying, I'll travel when I retire. I'll learn to paint when I retire. I'll spend more time with my family when I retire. But Naval's definition of retirement is very insightful. He said, retirement is definitely not sitting in a wheelchair in a nursing home at 65, only able to look out the window but unable to do anything. That scene is full of sorrow. Real retirement means not sacrificing today for an imagined tomorrow. When you're mentally fulfilled and live in the moment every day, you've reached the retirement state. Let me share my own experience. When I came back from the mainland, I was technically retired, but I wasn't idle. I still did things I loved. During that time, I especially liked riding my bike up Yongmingshan. To share my cycling achievements, I even opened a Facebook account. The first time I rode up Fengguizi, I took a photo and posted it on Facebook with the caption, "Unlocked Fengguizi today." Many friends I hadn't contacted for a long time saw it and left comments. "Brother, you're retired." 2 weeks later, I rode to Lengshuiking, a longer distance than last time. I took another photo and posted it on Facebook. This time, my friends were even more excited, leaving messages one after another. "Brother, how you're completely retired." So envious. Looking at these comments, I found it interesting. I was obviously still working, so why did everyone think I was retired? Later, I replied to them on Facebook. "Every morning from 4:30 to 6:30 is my retirement time." After writing that sentence, I suddenly realized the reason everyone thought I was retired was because I was doing things they wanted to do but couldn't. Taking time out of a busy life to do what I loved. Many people see retirement as an end point, thinking they can only do what they love when they're old and stop working. But in fact, retirement should be a state of life, a state of living in the moment. For example, getting up an hour early every morning to run or practice Tai Chi in the park. Taking 2 hours every night to read and play games with your children. Inviting friends to hike or camp on weekends. These moments that make you happy and fulfilled are actually retirement time. You don't have to wait until you're 65 or earn enough money. You can create such moments for yourself now. Now I do things I love every day. Writing books, giving lectures, sharing financial knowledge with everyone. I don't see this as work. On the contrary, I enjoy it. For me, this is the retirement state, not working for money but contributing out of love, being mentally fulfilled and living in the moment. So retirement, like financial freedom, is a choice of life state. No need to wait or hope. Start now. Balance your ability and desires, focus on the happiness of the present, and you'll already have the retirement life and financial freedom that others envy. After talking about financial management and retirement, let's talk about entrepreneurship. Many people want to start a business now, thinking being their own boss is free and profitable. But what everyone doesn't know is that 90% of startups fail. I've been in venture capital for nearly 11 years, met all kinds of entrepreneurs, and witnessed the ups and downs of many companies. At first, I thought the key to entrepreneurial success was hard conditions like business models, moats, R&D capabilities, and intellectual property rights. But later, I gradually realized that these are not the most core. The most core is 3 words: enjoy what you do. Why do I say that? The road to entrepreneurship is extremely difficult and full of uncertainty. You may have a good business model, but suddenly encounter a trade war that changes the market. You may have a strong moat, but suddenly a more powerful competitor emerges. You may develop a good product, but have bad luck and encounter an industry downturn. If you start a business just to make money, you'll easily give up when facing these difficulties because there are many ways to make money. And there's no need to put all your eggs in one basket. But if you start a business out of love, the situation is completely different. Even if you encounter difficulties, you'll see them as challenges and opportunities for growth, and take the initiative to find solutions instead of escaping. I met an entrepreneur whose WeChat profile picture had a slogan, "As long as your thinking doesn't slip, there are more ways than problems." This sentence moved me deeply. It's the mindset an entrepreneur should have. Pessimistic people are always right because they keep saying there's no way, then stop looking for solutions and eventually fail for real. Optimistic people always move forward because they believe there's a way, take the initiative to explore and try. Even if they fail once, they summarize their experience and try again. This optimism and resilience often come from love for the entrepreneurial project, from enjoying what you do. In addition, entrepreneurship is an infinite game, which Simon Sinek emphasized in his book. What is an infinite game? It means not taking beating competitors as the goal, but focusing on creating value for customers. Many entrepreneurs focus on competitors from the start. If a competitor cuts prices, they cut prices too. If a competitor launches a new product, they hurry to follow suit. In the end, they fall into vicious competition, hurting both sides. But truly outstanding entrepreneurs focus on customers, thinking about what customers need and their pain points, then try their best to meet customer needs. When you can continuously create value for customers, customers will naturally choose you, and you'll naturally gain a firm foothold in the market. Another key point, whether it's entrepreneurship or personal brand building, you must follow the logic of remember, want, buy. When I used to work in advertising management, my teacher Mr. Wang Zhigang told me that many advertisements emphasize intuition, but no matter how strong the intuition is, it's useless if people can't remember them. He even sang an advertisement on the spot, followed by imitating a cough. Everyone present could sing along like singing the national anthem. That's the power of remembering. People will only buy things they remember in their minds, not things they can't remember. I've kept this sentence in mind. The same goes for entrepreneurship. First, you need to make customers remember you, your products, and your brand. Then make customers have the desire to want, making them feel your products can solve their problems and meet their needs. Finally, customers will buy. Many entrepreneurs want customers to buy from the start, spending a lot of money on promotion and sales. But customers can't remember their brand at all and don't feel they need their products, so they naturally won't buy. So the first step of entrepreneurship is to make yourself remembered, then talk about subsequent conversion. The reason 90% of startups fail is not because of bad business models or poor products, but because entrepreneurs forget the original intention of enjoying what they do, fall into the limited game of beating competitors, and fail to make customers really remember them. Entrepreneurship isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Only by truly loving what you do, focusing on customers, and continuously creating value can you go far and steady in this infinite game. Finally, let's talk about children's financial literacy education. Many parents have a misunderstanding. They think children are too young to learn financial management and will naturally learn when they grow up. Some parents think financial literacy education means teaching children to make money and save money, so they deliberately keep children away from money, thinking as long as you study hard, you'll naturally make money in the future. But in fact, the starting point of children's financial literacy education is not making money or saving money, but spending money. Let me share my own experience of educating my daughter. When my youngest daughter was 5 or 6 years old, I was free at home and often took her out for walks. One summer, the weather was extremely hot. After walking for a while, we couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted to take her to a convenience store to cool off with air conditioning, but I felt embarrassed to stand there empty-handed. So I gave her a 10 yuan coin and said, "Sweetheart, take this 10 yuan coin and buy something you want to eat." At that time, she had no idea what money was used for because before, whenever she wanted something, we would buy it for her directly, and she had never exchanged money for things herself. She took the coin, wandered around the convenience store for a long time, picked up a pack of Oreo cookies, and happily ran to the counter to hand the coin to the clerk. The clerk smiled and said to her, "Little girl, this pack of cookies costs more than 10 yuan. Your money isn't enough." She was stunned for a moment, put the cookies back, and continued wandering around the store. I watched from the side, finding it interesting. She wandered for about 10 minutes, then finally picked up a bottle of Yakult, ran to the counter again and handed the 10 yuan coin to the clerk. This time the clerk took the coin, gave her 2 yuan in change, and handed her the Yakult. At that moment I saw her eyes light up. She took the Yakult and the 2 yuan change, ran to me and said happily, "Dad, this one can be bought." At that moment I suddenly realized, the first step of children's financial literacy education is to let children understand the concept of exchange. Only when children personally experience exchanging 10 yuan for a bottle of Yakult can they understand the function of money, knowing that money can be used to exchange for things they want. This is more useful than saying money is important or cherish money 10,000 times. Later, I often gave her some pocket money and let her decide what to buy. Gradually, I started talking to her about value. I asked her, suppose Dad earns 200 yuan an hour, and another uncle earns 2,000 yuan an hour. What do you think is the biggest difference? She thought for a moment and said, "Dad, if the uncle earns 2,000 yuan an hour, he can earn the same amount as you by working 9 hours less." You see, children are actually very smart. Through such simple conversations, she gradually understood the concept of hourly wages, knowing that the value of making money lies in improving time efficiency, and that she needs to work hard to improve her abilities to earn more money in the same amount of time. After she understood exchange and value, I then taught her about saving and investment. I told her that depositing money in a bank or post office will generate interest. That's a way to make money with money, allowing money to grow without working hard. At this time, she realized that saving money isn't about putting money away and not using it, but for more valuable investments. So children's financial literacy education doesn't have to be complicated, and you don't have to wait until children grow up. Starting from the time they can hold a coin and express their needs, you can let them try spending a little money on their own, learning exchange through practice. Then through daily conversations, let them understand the value of making money. Finally, guide them to learn saving and investment. Step by step, children can establish a complete understanding of financial literacy, laying a solid foundation for their future wealth management capabilities. No matter how young the child is, you can start their financial literacy education by letting them spend a little money on their own. Guys, today we talked about a lot, from the core of financial literacy being cash and resource management, to the accumulation and improvement of the slow wealth mindset. From the essential difference between investment and speculation, to the true meaning of financial freedom and retirement, and then to the key to entrepreneurial success and the starting point of children's financial literacy education. In fact, the core is one sentence: whether it's financial management, making money, entrepreneurship, or educating children, we must grasp the essence, follow the rules, and keep our feet on the. Many people think financial management is difficult and making money is hard. In fact, it's not because the things themselves are difficult, but because we overcomplicate them and always want to take shortcuts. But wealth accumulation is like storing water in a reservoir. It needs to flow in slowly and be stored slowly. It's like a child learning to walk. It needs to take solid steps one by one. There are no shortcuts, but as long as you find the right direction and persist, everyone can achieve their wealth goals and have the freedom and life they want. I hope today's sharing can bring you some inspiration. I also wish everyone can sort out their financial management ideas, avoid pitfalls, accumulate steadily, and achieve their financial freedom and ideal life soon. Thank you all.